The other day I saw a video that was sent to me from a good friend of mine, James Hong, a golf professional, where it showed a famous guy in the rehab community, I guess, in performance fields, working with a famous golfer. And one of the things they were doing was, or saying, was this individual had an asymmetry in their thoracic spinal rotation. And for a golfer especially, if someone can turn all the way one way and then only can turn a certain degree or less degree the other way, that's going to affect their golf performance. And the way they would address it would be to do things to mobilize, to increase their ability to turn the opposite way. Makes sense, right? But that's only if you live in a very myopic world that doesn't look at the whole body. So let's just go over a couple of quick things. We tend to get fixated on specific areas because that's what draws our attention, and we tend to look at asymmetries as abnormal, and we try to seek perfection in symmetry, especially in a sport like golf. Here's the thing: is there any really such thing as symmetry, or is that just a concept we made so that we can empower, or we can feel good about ourselves and we're in control, that we're stable? But in reality, life is asymmetrical. Nature, everything is asymmetrical. So we got to stop looking for perfection and symmetry when it comes to performance, in this case, golf performance. And if you see somebody assess their ability to rotate their thoracic rotation, if that's what you believe is actually going on, and you see an asymmetry, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be wasting your time, or you're just chasing a pipe dream that doesn't exist, because you have to look and consider at the rest of the body. And not just to the rest of the body, you have to consider that individual before you who's paying you to help them play better, feel better, get out of pain, or whatever it may be. So if you're simply just going to say we have to seek symmetry and you'll improve your golf performance, you're really wasting your money. Here's the thing about the human body. There's never any isolation. The body's always working together as a whole, right? So if you focus on getting range of motion or mobility in one area while neglecting what is its relationship with the rest of the body, you're really shortchanging yourself and the client and patient. So let's just dig into some basics of anatomy, let's say, and throw out that garbage term of symmetry and seeking perfection with these air quotes, and understand here. I'm gonna get my artist skills over here. What we have here, draw a little upside down triangle. This is your pelvis, okay? Then I'm gonna draw another triangle, upside down triangle over here, a little smaller. This is your sternum, where your breastbone is, where your ribs attach from the front. And then my little T-Rex short arms here, I'm gonna draw another triangle up here. Guess what? That's your skull, your sphenoid bone, in the middle of your skull. So you have your sphenoid bone, you have your sternum in the middle of your chest wall. You have your sacrum in the middle of your pelvis. See the way they are like upside down triangles? Because this is a flat two-dimensional representation. Just imagine these being able to rotate, being able to side bend, to be able to flex and extend back and forth like this, and just imagine them to be able to have their own function independent of the others, but in reality, they're all fully really integrated. Now, let me take in my Mr. Bone skeleton over here, and what you can see is the pelvis, okay? Here's the pelvis, the sacrum's over here, here's the sternum, the breastbone over here, the chest wall, okay? Sphenoid is right over here in the center of your skull, okay? So let's say hypothetically you go to some really expensive, really famous person who's worked with a lot of professional athletes, has great results, has a great following, has a cult following, and has students, blah, blah, great. Amen to that, right? But let's say what you're teaching is, okay, I'm assessing their range of motion. They turn this way a lot, they turn this way a little. Okay, let's go through the process. Let's improve their ability to go this way, right? But that's only looking at over here. What if there's a tendency or a bias of this person and you didn't really assess it because you're not really aware of it yet. Let's say they have a tendency of having their pelvis or their waist biasing to the right. And then because their world is in front of them, their trunk is rotated this way, okay? Or just facing forward because the world is in front of us, right? But let's say they like their right side, their pelvis is this way. Relative to the pelvis or the sacrum, their sternum is this way. Now, they come to your treatment table, you ask them, okay, fold your arms, turn your arm this way, turn your arms that way. You don't really pay attention to what's going on down here. They're gonna have some limitation going to that left. Why? Because they're already there. Now just think about that for a sec. This is a very basic, crude example. There's a lot of other things going on. But if you have them start moving more over here when they're already at their end range ability to go there, which is in this case to the left, you're going to create more instability. Now granted, you may be successful because you focused and your myopic focus got you to get that person to go more that way. That seems limited on the surface. In reality, you never address what's going on down here. So they could apply that into their golf or their sports performance and they might actually do better. But who's to say? You can't really prove yay or nay or right or wrong. But who's to say somewhere down the line, weeks, months, years down the line, they start developing, all of a sudden, why does my neck hurt? All of a sudden I'm getting headaches over here. All of a sudden my back, my left lower back. All of a sudden my hips are getting a little stiff. All of a sudden my knees, getting knee pain. All of a sudden my ankles are getting a little stiff. Can you show me how to mobilize my ankles? So what I'm saying is, yeah, you might be successful for the short term. So you're looking for short-term investments to get greater gains, but you're taking a higher risk because you're not really addressing the more long-term. So you're going to be screwed long-term in general when you don't think about these things. Now, that was just if the pelvis is over. What if your right eye is dominant and you have your head turned a certain way so that your right eye could focus on things, and that affects the position of your head, and that changes the orientation from your head and your neck muscles are cranking to turn a certain way, and that seems to be your dominant patterning, okay? So all these little things I'm talking about are what we call a cortical predominance, okay? Our brain, our cerebral hemispheres, we have these patterns that are just dominant. They're just default mode, they're autopilot mode, where they've just been very successful to promote survival in our system. So the brain goes with what it knows until proven that it needs something else. So if we don't address these pre-existing patterns or cortical predominance, and someone's presenting to us with, hey, I want to be able to hit the golf ball 300 yards consistently, or hey, I got this pain over here that's preventing me from picking up my kid or whatever. If we don't look at where these individuals are as far as their patterning and their movements and their positioning, their sense of awareness of how to create a midline and how to support themselves on the ground and how to be able to move and have a relationship with space. And if we just look at the spot that hurts or the spot that is myopically we're focusing on, we're gonna miss something. It's gonna be a 50-50 practice that way. You might get people better and you might like stroke your ego a little bit and say, hey, okay, I helped this person. But in reality, did we really? Okay, so that's all I wanna say about that, because there's a lot of people that are going to people that mean well, but it's just that they're very myopic and just very overly focused on specific things that seem like successful on the surface. But when they've got someone with chronic issues going on, that they might get better in the beginning, but they develop other issues later on, or they're just not, maybe they don't have symptoms, maybe they want to improve their performance, but they reach a plateau and they don't know why, but they're paying money to see the best people in the world. You gotta start thinking the way the human body actually works, and how we're very sensorial beings, so to speak, and we have to be able to feel, right? And how we have our tendencies, our habits, which if we haven't owned them, nonetheless become aware of them, they're gonna take the steering wheel and take control of our experience. So we need people, empower people, and step one, identify where they are. Step two, identify what opposing or what might be missing per se. It's not really missing, it's just more forgotten. And step three is how do we put that all together for them? Step four, how do we integrate that into whatever motivates them to do whatever they're doing, okay? Whether it be to get out of pain and move better, or to play better sports and have better performance so they can make more money as a professional athlete, whatever it may be. So anyway, Michael Hoxton, PT, Jockson, Jocson, garage.com. I'm in Howard Beach, New York. Check me out.